It started, I was in the midst of, I had just been diagnosed with leukemia about 3 months earlier, and I had spent that 3 months in the hospital. So I had, that day I was actually going in to get a back brace fitted because my lumbar vertebrae, the spine, the vertebrae had collapsed from sitting in the hospital from the medications, the chemo and all the other drugs for those 3 months. So that morning I had gotten some blood work done, hadn't eaten anything, was with my 4-year-old brother at the time and my dad. And so we were it was about afternoon, maybe 11 o'clock, and went to get the back brace fitting at this, just a little outpatient center, just off a random street. And so I was just kind of standing there and I started getting a little fuzzy, and a little dizzy. And I had passed out before, maybe about a handful of times, just from like low blood counts during the original 3-month treatment from all the chemo and all that. And so started getting fuzzier. My dad and the technician were talking. He was a real nice guy. I actually kind of looked and reminds me a lot of you, Jeff, like your demeanor.
Right.
And yeah, it's kind of funny. It was just good. But so they were just chit-chatting, and I just started getting fuzzier and fuzzier. And I was kind of holding on to some bars while the guy's taking dimensions of my chest and, rib cage and all that so he can make the molding. And took about 30 minutes and just slowly kept getting fuzzier and fuzzier and, getting that tunnel kind of vision once you start getting low blood sugar and all that. So we started walking out of the building, and I just knew that I needed to get to my dad's truck. I just was getting, my vision was just kind of coming in. And my dad was just trailing behind with my little brother, talking to the technician. They were kind of joking and talking about music. And then I just kept moving. And so I got to my dad's truck and sat on the lip of the truck and just put my hands on my knees, and I could feel the blackness just coming. And I looked at my dad, he was about 30 yards away, and his eyes just you could see him just terrified. And I said, "Dad, I'm going to pass." And all of a sudden I went black. And then as soon as I don't know what happened, but as soon as I realized it, I was in a white tunnel. And, when I got there, I just was enamored by the only way to compare it is like it was like liquid, translucent, luminescent love moving around and through me. And, I just kind of got lost in that. And then I looked in front of me, and I saw a black shadow figure that looked like it was wearing a trench coat. And I couldn't picture anyone's face. I couldn't see any face. It was just a black shadow. But I immediately felt that this was my grandpa, who had died 7 years earlier. And so I just kind of stared off, and I don't know if I was saying yards, maybe 20 yards away from me. And I just kind of stared off at him, and we had this like inaudible communication. And all I remember him saying was, "Everything is going to be okay. You're going to be all right. You're going to be okay." And while in the midst of that, having that simultaneous, I don't even know, that liquid love, that peace, that serenity moving through me and around me. And in that moment, it didn't really matter what, we were communicating about. I knew there was more to it. I just didn't have any recollection of it at the time. And just was staring off while feeling this simultaneous penetration of love, of light, of divinity. And so I don't know how long I was there. I just existed out in front of me. And then all of a sudden, I sucked back out like I was coming through a black tunnel. And I started to hear, Zach, wake up. Zach, are you okay? Zach, are you okay? Zach, wake up, blah, blah, blah. And I just kept hearing, Zach, wake up. Zach, where are you? And then I started hearing another voice. Is he okay? What happened? Do you want me to call somebody? And I couldn't move. I couldn't do anything. I was just totally numb. And my dad, finally my nervous system started coming back online. And I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't move my body, but I could speak. And I said, I'm okay. I just can't move or open my eyes. And so I'm sure my dad, who's, I can only feel it's bad for him, and my 4-year-old brother, like, I look like I'm dying from all the chemo, and I'm a tenth of the person that I was. And then here I am passed out laying there. So the trauma that they went through, but bless their hearts. But anyways, finally my nervous system started coming back online, and was able to open my eyes, wake up, and was fine. And I thought I had hit my head, and my dad had actually caught me in the midst of the fall. So I don't know how he got 30 yards away to me in that fall time, but he caught me right before I hit the ground, he said. So, which is pretty interesting in itself. But anyways, so we got back in the car, and this was my dad. The grandpa that I saw was my dad's dad. And so we got back in the car, and I was just, in that moment, I'm 14. I'd never heard of a tunnel. I'd never really I haven't experienced anything like that. And just was trying to mull it over. So it lasted about a week, maybe 2 weeks. And I was just trying to figure it out. But I thought, I'm going to tell my dad. So I ended up just one day saying, hey, Dad, when I passed out, I ended up in the tunnel, and I explained to him what I explained to you. And he started freaking out. He kind of went from like, oh my God, are you going to die? Like, is Grandpa coming to like help you transition? And I was like, no, he said everything was going to be okay. Like that I was going to be all right. And so I told him about the trench coat and all that. And so, 2 months passed, and he just said, I found this picture, and it was my grandpa when he was younger, a little younger, about 50, because he died when he was 80. And it was him in a trench coat at the exact length that I'd seen so it was kind of validation that, yeah, I did have that experience, rather than me trying to, my 14-year-old self trying to rationalize what had just happened and figuring it out. It was just validation that, yeah, you had an experience, and you saw your grandpa, and everything's going to be okay.